The initial theme gives me nostalgia. There was this mobile game that came out around the same time. I know what you're saying, mobile game, but it was really fun. You could play as Call of Duty Deadshot, Harley with her bat and pistol, and then Chato with just pure fire. You fought these hordes of minions. I don't think you can play it anymore, unfortunately.
That is just a whole lot of pretty and a whole lot of crazy.
That's actually a very accurate description of Harley Quinn.
Until what needs to get done gets done.
Nope, that's not the rules. No money, no honey.
I say this to myself a lot. In fact, you're gonna find me saying that a lot because this movie is actually so quotable. Also, the phrase is sexual, which I didn't find out until recently. The real cameo here is David Harbour.
I just gave an anonymous tip to the right guy in Gotham City.
Does Amanda Waller know Bruce is Batman? Yeah, of course she does.
It's over, Deadshot.
I don't want to do this in front of your daughter. Eh? So why do it? So I decided to read Harley's personnel file. It's actually the most detailed, and I only say that because it's the only one I read thoroughly. Basically, she earned her PhD under one Dr. Odin Marcus. Her thesis was that people only disobey the law when they commit a crime or are in love, which grammatically doesn't make any sense, right? Like, you can't just break the law by simply being in love. It can be the reason but not the effect. Whatever. Her boyfriend Guy Kopsky was the test subject. The treatment employed was a lie that she blackmailed Dr. Marcus, shot him, and then asked her boyfriend Kopsky if he still loved her. Kopsky went insane and shot a homeless man who he thought was the doctor, laughing as he did it. Again, if he believes Harley killed Dr. Marcus, why would he then think that someone was Dr. Marcus? Hallucinations? Intrusive thoughts? Pure insanity? Whatever. Later he asked Harleen to aid in his suicide. Get it? Because the movie's called... Never mind. Now, apparently the doctor tampered with the experiment. That's what it says, but it doesn't elaborate. It also explains that Harley was smart in school and had gymnastics training. You know, I love when we get expansive lore like this, especially for a non-comic book character who originated on TV. I guess it's easier to add lore to a character who's barely had any as compared to the other characters who've had extensive comic histories. The file ends with meeting Joker and then falling into the Ace Chemicals vat. Joker saving her out of a change of heart. Now, on that note, I like that Harley is also changed like the Joker. Not sure if she also fell into the vat in the DCEU, come to think of it. The DC animated universe. The vat didn't make her crazy though. Obviously shown through her fixation with the Joker, pre-vat, but also through her experiment with her boyfriend in her file. This means that Joker was always crazy, and the vat just altered her skin. Pretty similar to Two-Face. It's a good parallel to real life in that trauma causes people to act differently depending on who they are. But the real question is, why did Joker save Harley? Lust, I think? Or maybe he really does feel lonely and needs someone to share his craziness with, which he obviously hides with frustration against her.
You want no beef? You don't want no beef? You don't want no beef?
I'm telling you, man. Quotable. I love a young Joker story, but you know, he would look so much better with prominent eyebrows. The score is really good at setting the tone and hyping you up. Like, even though I get Killmonger vibes, that penciled on stash is just, what? I now realize that this guy is the Bell Rev guard who abused the inmates.
Oh my God.
You're so screwed.
Okay, maybe this is a plot point that was cut from the Ayer cut, but why does Harley tell this to the guard? We never really find out. Or at least we never find out what happens to him. Yeah, the only reason Enchantress is in this movie is to advertise Cara Delevingne's modeling portfolio. Okay, Jay looks good here, although we never get the explanation as to why he's even here in the first place. I think it's like a Wayne-owned lab or something.
I'm scumbag.
She had a mouth.
You know, I like that the inmates are insane. They don't retaliate unless insulted first. Oh, never mind. You can't tell me Scott Eastwood wouldn't be perfect for Snake from Metal Gear.
Yeah, they're here. There's a war going on here. What the hell, Flag? I
I suppose calling me Snake was your idea of a joke, too.
Check this out. Snake from the video game was based off of Kurt Russell's character from Escape from New York. And that movie is what inspired Suicide Squad, these roguelike characters with bombs in their necks that go on this impossible mission in a city they're trapped in. Well, Kurt Russell's character in that movie took inspiration from Clint Eastwood, who is literally the father of Scott Eastwood. So you see, this guy would be perfect for Snake. And later, I'm gonna mention an example in this movie, something that Scott does, or at least his character, that is like so Snake-like. Oh gosh, that was my ringtone for the longest time. Yeah, this scene goes hard. Also, I noticed that Rick Flagg's actor, Joel Kinnaman, couldn't help himself but smirk around Will. He's just too charismatic. What I love about DC is when the villains join forces with the heroes, how it treats them as equals, not necessarily as complete villains. The bar scene is reluctantly beautiful, if that's a phrase, because we see their humanity seep through. Typically, the villains laugh as they foil the hero's plans, but as the protagonist, you get to see them for who they really are. And then Enchantress highlighting their deepest desires is also beautiful in the same way. You know, when Enchantress regains her heart, it would have been cool if we got her true form, like how her brother was this big glowing creature. Kara's pretty face talking deep like the witch doesn't really work, to be honest. I will now cover the extended cut. Really, this is just rewatching the movie and even further seeing what details I can find. It's no Ayer cut, of course, but there is one scene added here that I think is worth a watch.
You left me in a black hole of rage and confusion.
Interesting take on their relationship. Feels more human. You can feel Joker's hurt and confusion. Like, there's nothing as cruel as memory. Okay, so something exclusive to this cut. Croc chews off a guard's hands. We don't see it, but a guard mentions it. Is this a reference to Aaron Cash from Arkham Asylum? Joel Kinnaman is a good actor. He shows a lot more emotion in his relationship with June Moon than she, the actress Kara, does.
Woo! What a ride!
Okay, either this line is a reference to something, or it's just been stuck in my head all these years in this exact tone. I feel like I've seen it in a commercial somewhere or something. Or maybe they used that line for like Harley Quinn in a video game or something. Jeez. So the big scene I wanted to talk about, exclusive to this cut, is when the villains are basically playing the telephone game and passing around that they want to escape. We get way more interactions between the team, and it's actually good. If only the movie focused more on the team dynamic like this. I thought initially that they didn't have much chemistry, the actors, but this scene right here just proves that they do. Alright, you remember how I mentioned Scott Eastwood acting like Snake? Well, he does it right here. You wanna know how? Well, in true Snake fashion, when Harley exits the elevator, she walks all like, she does her like sexy walk, whatever. And Scott's character is like at the end of the hallway. He does not stare at Harley one bit, he just immediately turns around with his gun. Which is pretty funny because earlier the entire staff, the entire US unit stopped what they were doing to check out Harley. So it's not just a thing that the US military are like these stoic, prude, noble people. It's just who he is. And if you don't know Metal Gear, there's a scene in Metal Gear Solid 3 where this operative named Eva tries to seduce Snake, and instead of succumbing to her, he basically starts talking about the schematics of a weapon, of a pistol. Man, not seeing more of Jared's Joker was a crime. I get folks didn't like his appearance, but his scenes are actually commanding and he's strangely charming, as a young Joker should be. Okay, so final detail I want to discuss. Harley's gun starts with hate, then it stays in the middle, and then it ends with love. Not super obvious and not that compelling, but it's there. Now, release the Ayer cut.